have a set, what's the word I'm looking for, outline or an idea of the way it's going to go. So if someone were to listen to this later, or you people who are now listening to this later, hello, I'm talking to the future. You may not find this particular recording makes a lot of sense from beginning to end, because I don't have a place where I'm going with this. This is an online lab, but it's possible that the question that you have will be answered during this time. So I'm going ahead and recording anyway. So, do you all feel prepared to workshop your SEO assignment? Is that a hand, Bo?
I have a good idea of like how to comment and stuff like that. I think that my issue comes with just like looking at the WordPress site. Like, so, and I know that you said that you were going to like go over doing it in WordPress later. So I think that that's where a lot of like my personal questions stem from. And I know that that's just because I have a WordPress site.
Many of you do. I asked, and it was a significant minority. For the assignment, you are going to ignore the fact, basically, that it's a WordPress site. So you're going to take a page of code, the main page of the site, like everyone else, and you're going to save it as an HTML file and edit it with your text editor. And then you'll go through and point at places in the code and say, this is something that could be done better. There's no alt text in these images. And we're going to ignore the fact for now that if you were going to fix that, you wouldn't do it in a text editor or in the code. We do it somewhere else.
A WordPress site. I got you.
So are there other folks with WordPress related questions? I know a bunch of you have chosen WordPress sites, and it's very popular.
Anthony, just
someone asks how you can tell it's a WordPress site. What I would do is just do a Command F or a Control F in the HTML document for WP, and you may find a WP dash statement that's left in there. That's how I sort of tell. I mean, to be completely honest, for the assignment, it doesn't matter much. The only reason I'm bringing it up is we're going to be dealing with WordPress, and I don't want you to be in a job situation and say, oh, we'll just go into the HTML and fix it. And that won't be how it's done. But if you want to know if it's a WordPress site, search for WP dash, and you will probably find something that says it's WordPress. If not, it likely isn't. But it depends on the version of WordPress that they're using or all the things they have installed. Some of them will have comments in the code somewhere that say when the page was generated. You just poke around enough and you should see something. All right, just for my own edification again, go ahead and give me a green yes if you know you have a WordPress site, and a, let's see, a thumbs up if you're not sure.
quick question, Nicholas.
Go ahead.
If I'm saving my home page from WordPress, do I want to, it's offering me formats and like there's web page complete and web page HTML only. I want HTML only, right?
What you really want to do is view the source
And copy the actual text.
Command A to get everything and then paste it into a text file.
Gotcha. All right, I'm there. Thanks.
You're welcome. And there's no requirement here, but if more of you wanted to turn your cameras on, that might be useful. You certainly don't have to have a camera and you don't have to turn it on. I mean, I use these backgrounds because, you know, my office is also our laundry room and there's lots of stuff hanging up. So, but yeah, you don't need to do any of that, but I want to make sure that there's a feeling of more direct connection. I really appreciate the way Bo is interacting and I hope you keep doing it, but I also want to make sure that I'm not ignoring some of y'all, or some of y'all don't feel fully included, or that it's not comfortable bringing up the things that you're working on. Okay, so are there more WordPress related questions? Another thing, if you don't know where your page came from, beware of things like Wix or Square or some of these other web page building tools. Not all of them are friendly with SEO. And maybe I had this conversation before on how to choose a website, but they will make you grind your teeth down to powder with frustration. And it's not the kind of frustration that you can, you know, get through just by continually plugging away. With those sites and this assignment, the best thing is to pick a different site. Okay. So moving on. Oh, wait, another question. Someone asked if you all were supposed to send me an email with the website you were using. You can. That 5% on the instructions I'd mentioned before, I'm going to kind of ignore. That worked better when we had class, and I wanted to make sure I could check in with everyone that people were keeping up to date and had at least chosen a website and weren't leaving it all to the last second. We do not need to worry about, if you haven't told me what your site is, that's okay. You can tell me today and we can look at it and make sure it works, but that's not going to be an issue. All right. And I'm digging through the chat to make sure I haven't ignored anyone's questions. Those are excellent comments, Ruth. I don't see a question in there, so I'm not ignoring them, but that makes sense. Good. You can use a personal site, yes. Hand-coded site from like your portfolio or something from an assignment is good. I think that was Dylan's question. That is an excellent background. I've been trying to think of the name of the Mist Island, and I can't, but that is from Mist, yes?
Yes, sorry, I'm scrambling around trying to find the controls. Yeah, we were in Deanie's class on Mist, so I popped up that background because I thought it'd be clever, and it works pretty good. So,
okay.
Yes, excellent observation there.
Excellent. I'd be happy to check your URL as well, Dylan, but it's not in that message I just got.
Oh, well, I guess I better send that too, huh?
Well, look at that. And other folks can do that. So yeah, working. Yeah, that's some people's coping mechanism when things are stressful and the world seems out of control, is to control things more. And that's a decent coping mechanism. It's not necessarily mine, but I'm glad you're occupied. As far as if it says WP content in your page was created using WordPress. I mean, it's technically possible that someone could have snuck them in there, but that's part of the process. So Anthony, your page is WordPress. And again, that's not going to matter until in the real world you're actually trying to change the title tag and some other things, and then you'll have to do that through the dashboard. Anyone having internet or connection issues, totally get it. I've turned off the bell, so if you drop, you can come back in. I had a message from campus the other day. I'll try and find the map. If any of you have really serious connection issues, they have increased the places in the parking lots on campus that have better Wi-Fi. And so if you want to drive in, there are certain places where you can park and sit in your car and Zoom or have access to high bandwidth needs. If you have, like as you're working on this project or others, I mentioned before, not all of you have cameras or microphones, and that is totally fine. But campus invested a bunch of money in new laptops and new equipment for students. If you feel like you can be more successful, or it would be handy for you to have a higher performing laptop, if that would be something less to worry about. There are still 18 for available in the library for the rest of the term. So you would just have to go in once, and they're being very cautious about the distance going away to get it set up for you. On the library's webpage, there's a phone number to call to make an appointment. So you can say, hey, I'm going to come in at this time. I'd like to check out a laptop. And that's still available. And so if any of you think that that would be handy for your situations, go get a laptop for the rest of the term. There's no charge, and that's what they're there for. All right. Someone has sent me a site to check on. Well, first off, the person who privately just sent me the site, go ahead and say in that chat if it's okay. Would you like me to do a run through looking at the code to see how I make that decision? So those of you who would like to see that, say yes. And the person who shared it, I won't do this without your confirmation, which I have. So would you like me to share my screen and show you what I look at? That's 5 yeses. Okay, so a few more yeses, good. I think what happens is I just need to wait longer. Am I stressing you out by going too fast over some of this? I'm going at conversation speed, not find the clicky button that's out of reach speed. Okay. Clearing the interaction. Okay, I do not have a second screen up. Do you all see a web page that says download the filmmaker checklist? Okay, I'm going to turn to my other screen. I'm not ignoring you, but that's why you're seeing me in profile. Okay. And then on Firefox, it's on Firefox and Mac, it's Command U. In other places, it's Control U or Control Shift U. All right, what are you doing to me? I'm going to switch to the other screen, Command U, and that's going to open up a new tab with the background code. Do you all see the background code? Okay. I am going to embiggen it a little bit, or can you read the text, or is this better? I imagine some of you might doing this on a phone. I'm not sure how that works. So, wait. I am also going to, I'm going to give myself the fancy cursor so you can see it, unless this is super annoying. I know one of you doesn't like this, and I will try to respect everyone's things, but do you think having the extra space on the cursor and being able to magnify under it, is that helpful or distracting?
I think it's pretty helpful.
Okay, and I know it's not universal, so I'll do it for a while and then we'll see. And I keep jumping back and forth because I'm getting information in different places, but that's all good. Okay, so at the top, we see the beginning of a regular web page. The regular things that we see in the head, the heading tag is highlighted here. And then we start to get some meta tags. I've talked about meta tags mostly in terms of meta description, which is super important, and meta keywords, which is not. But in HTML universe, not in the SEO universe, what meta means is something that's in the head of a web page that is not visible on the page. Generally, by and large, a really good rule of thumb is you don't want to have invisible content on your page. Invisible content is something that's like what's in a meta tag or alt text on images, things that are in the web page but aren't visible on the page. That says, or that's a sign that you might be trying to do black hat SEO. One of the first things that people thought of when they realized that Google wasn't just another search engine that did bad search, but it was starting to be central to making money on this new thing they call the internet, is that people would have a white background for a page and then white text over the top of it with the most popular keywords. And then their pages would, in theory, show up on search results for anything. That effort has continued. This used to be a current events example, but it's not anymore. But do y'all know who Rick Perry is? He's a Texas politician. Some of you do. Former, I don't remember, I think he was a governor. But he was a big Texas politician with national ambitions. And we thought he might be a player on the national scene. And he, like his core supporters were in the evangelical or the white evangelical community in Texas. And some people were sending around malicious and salacious rumors that he was gay. And this was maybe a decade ago now. And so that was even less acceptable to a general population on the web page. It turns out that the people who had that on their web page, and it was the Democratic State Party, when they were trying to figure out what was going on, because people were spinning it as the official Democratic State Party of Texas was making unfounded and they were trying to undermine him by talking about his sexuality, which, whether it's true or not, is not, that's dirty pool, not acceptable. It turns out they had hired an SEO company who were using meta keywords, even though even back then they weren't useful, to put in all of the things that people might search for. And one of them was Rick Perry gay. And that's what they were putting on the site. where I'm going with that, that's a long example of why invisible text on web pages is sometimes necessary, but is something you want to be careful of. It's because that is the sort of thing, sorry, I'm moving the camera, or moving the whole laptop actually. That is the thing that is a sign that someone's doing something black hat. So, have I bored you to death with that already?
I liked it. I like political history.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
it's very important.
watch who you're, be careful of who you're paying to do your work, and beware of hidden text. And also, preying on homophobia for political ends is just a nasty thing to do. Next. We're seeing some more meta tags. And again, now we know that meta means something that doesn't appear in the text of the page. Someone tell me what the meta description tag here does.
Does it provide context for the actual page itself?
It does. The reason we have a meta description tag, the reason that it was in the HTML that Tim Berners-Lee put together, that's what it does. The purpose of a meta description tag is to describe the page for people who are looking at the code. Okay, Anthony says the search engines will often use it under the link. That's correct. On the SERP, which is something that we care very much about because that's how we're getting people to come to our site, you have the title tag, the URL, and something that Google calls a snippet. If you have a meta description tag, Google will probably use that as the snippet. Can someone do me the favor of Googling filmmakingstuff.com and telling me what the snippet is on the Google search page? This way we can test to see if what I'm telling you is correct, that if we have a good meta description tag, that'll be on the SERP.
All right. The future of filmmaking is not Hollywood, is the thousands of filmmakers empowered by the digital revolution.
Filmmaking Stuff provides modern filmmaking tactics. Okay, so we see confirmation that you can control what appears on the SERP, the text that people see when they're choosing whether or not to go to your site. You can control that. Here we have meta name equals robots. Have we heard robots before? Okay, I see some yeses. Someone new, tell me if we've heard robots mentioned before. You can do it in the chat or turn your microphone on. Either is good.
I don't think I've seen it with it being in a meta tag before.
Not being in a meta tag, but have we mentioned it in the readings or talking about using robots?
Yeah, there's the mention of like using the robot text to stop
Yes.
callers from doing stuff.
Yes. If you have a robots.txt or a robots text file in the public_HTML folder or the root folder of your website, that's where you can put commands for the web crawler as it's coming through to crawl that page or not. Or it'll be, the robots.txt will give you a list of pages and say which ones to crawl and which ones not to. This, in the head of the web page, is another place where you can do the same thing. Just be aware that in Boolean algebra, 2 wrongs make a right. You know, we've all heard that, been told 2 wrongs don't make a right. So just because your brother stole your cornflakes, you don't get to punch him. In Boolean logic, 2 wrongs do make a right. And so if you say one thing in one place and something in another place, you might have a result you don't need. But anyway, this is a command to the crawlers telling you what to do with this page. I want you to know what it is. Yes, don't not crawl my page. Exactly. But that's what the Meta Robots does. Now we have a link relationship equals canonical and then another URL, or it's actually this URL. Do you recall seeing the phrase canonical in any of the readings? I'm seeing some yeses. So if you have different versions of the same page, maybe you have a sandbox page. I will sometimes have a different site in a folder on my, on my web server where I'm trying some stuff out. Maybe it's user experience stuff. Maybe I'm trying to program a new form or something. If you put this link equals, or the link relationship equals canonical in there, what you're saying is this is the same as another page, and the other page is the real one. So when the crawlers come through and they see two pages, they know, ignore this one, focus on the canonical one. So is that concept making sense? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear the comments so far, but keep them coming. I'm going to assume for now that that canonical is there. One thing that we haven't talked about that has code that's similar to this is in the REL equals, that REL means the relationship. The relationship that this page has to another link is that this is the canonical one. Now, if you're linking to something that you don't want to boost their SEO, let's say you went to a drive-through coffee place, and instead of coffee, they gave you a mug of spiders. You might want to get the word out that spiders are awesome. I like spiders. They're pretty. They've got all those little eyes and the hair coming up off their legs. Spiders are great. I don't want them in a cup when I need caffeine. You can tell this is week 2 of being at home, is that my examples might get a little less mainstream. Anyway, so if I went to my website and said, don't go to Billy's Coffee because you'll get spiders instead of your coffee. In a normal world, if that's all I did, I would be increasing in a small way Billy's Coffee's SEO because I've linked to his site, and links are votes. So after you put a link to something you don't like, if in the text of, in the body, in the code of the link, you put an REL equals no follow, what you're saying is, I am not voting for the SEO of this site. Do not use my collection of Google juice to improve the search of that site. And that reminds me that I think I need to do a little bit more with PageRank. Give me a red no if I've already explained PageRank perfectly and you know what I'm talking about. Give me a green yes if no, I haven't said enough and you would like me to talk more about it. Okay, we will talk more about PageRank. Thank you. So I'm going slowly through this site, but I think it's all good. So we're looking at this stuff in the head. More meta tags. Meta just means invisible tag in the head. And these are meta property OG equals different things. Remember this for the next project. Doesn't matter for here, but OG is part of the OGP, the Open Graph Protocol. That is Facebook's semantic markup system. You will want to know that if you're doing web-based marketing. You'll want to know that if you're building web pages. You want to know that if you're doing social media. OG, the Open Graph Protocol, is the background rules for how Facebook does semantic markup on the web. And all of these things, the locale, the type, the title, and the description, all of that, and you'll see that in there somewhere, the Facebook app ID and the number, that number, and someone could probably look that up on Facebook if you wanted to, is going to be for a Facebook page of something that's very much like this site. But that's not this lesson, that's for the future. So this isn't unimportant, but we don't care about it right now. And then as we go through this MS validate, I'd have to look that up. I think that's going to be something with Bing Webmaster Tools. And as a rule, you don't want to single source. So even if most of the traffic you get is through Google and not a lot is through Bing or Yandex or Baidu, other major search companies, you still want to pay attention to them. Okay.
Hey, Nicholas.
Yes, sir.
Just according to like Search Console help, it looks like it's the verification tag for the Bing Webmaster Tools.
All right. I was right. And basically what that means is that is your account name or your account number. You put that in there to tell the Webmaster Tools that this is mine. And then when you log in with the username and password associated with that, they will give you the stats for that page. Not just anybody can get those. You'll need the account, username and password, and the identifying code. But we'll talk about that. Okay. This next bit, the Yoast SEO Premium plugin. Yoast is the plugin that we use in WordPress to actually do this. Yoast will, when WordPress magically generates this HTML, they will put the keywords that you give it in the locations that they want. So that's what that's for. As I continue to move through the page, we don't care about this styling stuff for now, so I'm going to ignore it. Ignore all this JavaScript and ignore the CSS. Here is a comment. Yes, this is a WordPress site. Someone asked in the chat, this is very much a WordPress site. For terms of what we're doing, as I go through it, it creates readable HTML so we can read it and SEO it, but to change it, we'd have to do it somewhere else. Okay. Once upon a time, and for a long time, it was a rule of SEO that search engines can't read JavaScript. That's not true anymore. JavaScript to your heart's content. But we used to tell people, don't do things like, or if you have a navigation sign or something that's just an arrow or a picture of a home, you have to put the text somewhere so the SEO knows what it does. With JavaScript, if you did links in JavaScript instead of in HTML, the crawlers used to couldn't read the display text, even though it's there on the web page. That's not there anymore. So now if someone says something like, don't put that in JavaScript because the search engine can't read it, the search engines have gotten smarter and they can. Okay. So here we have some Facebook pixel code. I don't know what that is. I don't pay enough attention to Facebook. And here's the Amazon Associate ID. That's so if people click on Amazon ads on the site, they get their fraction of a penny. Okay. Now we get to the end of the head. I see the body. Don't see the head. I don't see where they end the head. So if you run into this, we can always just do a search. And I'm searching for where the head closes, and it's right here. I'm just not paying attention. Okay, so this is where the head closes. Then the body opens. And we can look for some more things. What we're looking for in here, or actually, I haven't looked at the title yet. Filmmaking stuff. I think we're going to want to fix that. That's the name of the web page. So people who know what filmmaking stuff is will be able to find it. But it's not going to help people who want the content but don't know that the site exists finds it. So if that's our goal, we will want to add, you know, a couple of dashes or a pipe. Does everyone know what the pipe symbol on the keyboard is?
Can you remind me? Maybe in chat.
No, everyone should. The pipe is, I'll make one in chat. On my MacBook, the pipe is Shift and the / key that's just below the delete button. It's the vertical line in the center. Pipes are good in title tags for separating things. Maybe you want to have a couple of words that are a phrase. So you would say filmmaking stuff, then a space, and then you put the pipe and say, digital revolution filmmakers from all over the web. I'm not sure that's what they're looking for, but that's their location. That's what they're doing. In this case anyway, we'd want to put more text into the filmmaking stuff. So I'm going to just Command A or Control A to copy gather everything. And then I'm going to copy it. And you won't see this right away, I don't think, but I'm going to. Can you see the spotlight search on your screens, or do you just see the web page still?
I see the spotlight search.
Okay, so I'm going to open BB Edit, and I'm going to create a new HTML document. And then I'm going to pull it onto the screen that you can see. Is the dark text, does that work for you?
I'm good.
And if I embiggen it this much, is that enough? Okay, I'm seeing
That's
some
okay.
yeses and green lights come on. I'm going to go back over and clear comments so I'll know the next time. So if I was working on this project, I would paste in the text that we were working with, and then I would, remembering that oh, hang on a second. I didn't mean to log in. Is this helpful? I'm realizing we have about 10 minutes left, and I've spent most of this time talking to you instead of answering your questions. So if you were hoping for something else, all right. I'm going to go to the example markup page. And I'm going to take this sample copy that I gave for how to mark up the page. And then I'm going to go back to this, and at the title, I'm going to paste in my comment that this is the project, and it is in fact the title tag. And I might say, this is a descriptive tag with the name of the site. I have improved it by adding my keywords and location. And then I go back to the beginning. I take what I had here, I copy it, and I put it inside the comment. And then I make the changes that I think I should see. So I put a space and then the pipe, and I say, and what I've done here is, I don't think off the cuff, now that's interesting. Filmmaking, all right. Digital filmmaking for a revolutionary future probably isn't a perfect title, but that uses stuff that I found off of their meta description tag. And the point that I want to show you is we want to be as repetitive as we can without people noticing or getting annoyed.
Got to focus our Google juice.
Yeah. And we don't have that many options. So that's how I would make comments on a title tag. I have changed it with what I think is better. I've showed what I changed it from, and I said what the rule is and why I'm changing it. And then probably when I was writing about this in the essay, I would mention what one of the 3 guides, the Search Engine Watch, the Google Guide, or the Moz Guide said about title tags. And then as I go through, sorry for the fast scrolling. I want to find the top of the body again. Okay, so here we have, this is, all right, hang on. I'm going to soft wrap the text. Does that help or hinder? All right. Thank you, James. Okay. So I'm going to search and go back to the close of the head. And as I'm going through the page, a lot of this looks like junk, but see, and we can see this is the navigation menu, and that's fine to go past that. But here, this text here, download the filmmaker checklist. If we look at the page itself, see how this is the center of the page? I would take a wild stab, as it says up here, download my filmmaker checklist, download the filmmaker checklist here. Can anyone take a wild guess as to what a conversion for this page might be?
Oh. We want you to download the filmmaker checklist.
Exactly. Austin is asking for help. What can I do for you, Austin?
Oh, sorry. I was replying. You were asking if it was helping earlier, and I said it helps. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, that wasn't clear.
No, that's fine. So you all know the more interaction that I get in chat or speaking up or pushing the buttons, that's all very helpful. Okay. So we want everyone to do this. So one thing we might suggest, I'm not saying we have to suggest, but here where they have this, that's in an H3. Do we think that's the third most important thing on the page?
No.
And this might not be the first thing that we do, but, and I've run into this where I try an H1 something and it's just way too big and it looks ugly. We can make it an H1 and then fix how it looks in CSS. But one thing that we might pick up here is this is a classic case of burying the lead, lead, L-E-D-E, which basically it's an old cliche, but when you bury the lead, it means you have a long story and you put the important part that people should know in the middle, because people don't read the whole thing and they'll miss it. Ann says this is what you had to do with H1 for your site. You had to restyle it. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. H1s, if I was making a hierarchy of what's more important, the heading tags it's there on the list of things that you can do something about, but even if you had perfect H1 architecture and you did it perfectly all through your site, it might still have a minimal impact. It's not as important as some other things, but it is something that you can do. Okay, and as I go through, I'm looking at what's in here. What I might also do, if we're running out of time, I might do a search for images, and it's found me an image here. And there's the source, there's the sizes. What don't we see in here? That A tag goes from there to there. What don't we see?
There's no alt text.
Oh, there is. Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, wait, there is. I see it. Yep.
Yeah. Film mentor. That is excellent SEO alt text. It's horrible usability alt text. Your alt text should describe what the picture is. And so I might put in there, depending on if it's a picture of a person or not, I might say an image of a film mentor mentoring their filmmaker. It's a place where you can be descriptive, but don't go crazy. So here, what we might say in the analysis is there are alt text, for the images. And so here's another one on film financing. So that's good. That's a good thing. And maybe for one of these, I might put in a comment around it, that comment format that we had, showing a more, Deanie will tell you that this is ekphrastic writing or just purely descriptive. So if I was doing ekphrastic writing about my little friend here, oops, sorry, we might say that it is roughly oval in shape, 6 inches tall, plush, with a pink outline and a white body, looking somewhat like a stylized anime owl with 2 black dots for eyes and lines for feathers in the chest. That kind of descriptive text, that kind of writing is what you want in alt text. How do I spell that? I'm going to go to my friend Wikipedia for that, because I think it's with an EK, but I might be completely wrong. So let's do wiki ekphratic writing. Ekphrasis. Okay, so that's the root. We'll take that, paste it in there. Yeah. And that's where we see it. They say ekphrasis instead of ekphratic writing. One or two specific improvements, yes. I don't want you to make 600 specific alt text things, but how about this? Ignore your first 2 temptations to yada, yada, yada something. You know, do 3 alt texts and then you can yada, yada, yada. Does that sound reasonable? You have to create the alt text for the images in your site. Do it 3 times and then say, I'll do this more. So yeah, that will be our rule of thumb. Do it 3 times before you say, all right, enough already. Okay. That brings us to the end of another regularly scheduled program. I had at least 1 or 2 people ask for some time after class to chat about their website. And let's see, I'm going to check my schedule. Oh, I have something at 10:30. So I can chat with you guys for half an hour. So if you want to stick around and do that, stick around and do that. I am going to go get up and get myself more of this and, well, get rid of some of that and wash my hands. And I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes for about half an hour.
I don't know about you guys, but my WordPress looks like garbage.
Bro, I just started this like last night. I got done with 1 part, so like I'm not even like expecting much. I straight up told them like, nah, it's gonna be bad. Like compared to my last projects, like this is bad. So don't expect much. I'm over here just trying to write 5 sentences for each paragraph. Like I'm all like, nah.
Dude, they slapped me with a geo test on Monday. Like, I used to blow through.
Oh no.
this. I almost took the whole time on that thing. Oh my goodness.
I had an art history test just yesterday, and man, I'll be honest, it's just not having the classroom. It does make it a bit more difficult.
For sure.
It's just different. I'm not used to it, I guess, but man, yeah, being my own self boss, it's been hard, especially being home and stuff. It's hard not to just relax. I see all my family and stuff relax. I'm all like, man, that could be me right now if I just put in work.
I just encourage you that everybody else is feeling the same thing.
Hell yeah. That
Yeah,
does make me feel better.
with it. My girlfriend just said she's her own boss on the daily and she still struggles with it.
Honestly, if I was my own boss, I would have been fired by now. It's bad.
Yeah, I've been working from home for a while, and it was quite a learning experience and a transition to try and be productive and not get distracted. And it's still a daily challenge. So I think that's pretty normal.
Hell yeah. I just got to learn to like spread out these things throughout the week. I save it all for one day.
Yeah, it's like if you're, oh, sorry, Bo, I think your mic's muted.
I think he's talking to someone else.
I didn't want to talk over him. Well, I forgot what I was going to say, but yes, solidarity.
Do you think he's just gonna come back and help us more with the text, the code?
I mean, I think he just wants to answer any specific questions that anybody has about their specific situation.
Damn, I don't got a specific question, and if anything, it's just getting it done.
Yeah, well, you're free to go if you don't have any more questions.
Have a
How
great day,
dare learning
guys.
take place
Talk to you
without
later.
me?
Mhm.
Don't worry, no learning took
Hey,
place.
Nicholas, Nicholas, do you admin the Discord channel for the DTC program?
Well, that's yeah, it's a sub channel on my personal channel, but I don't think I've logged into it for a while. Why don't I fix that?
Because some of the computer science students have a Discord channel, and what they've done is they've organized channels for like every CS class that the group is in, so that if you have a question about an assignment, you can be very specific about which folder you're going into to get help for an assignment. And I noticed that the DTC Discord channel is not set up that way.
Right, there's just one channel for classes, and it's not well used. My stuff is not even on the DTC Discord server because I don't really use Discord much, and I hadn't figured out what it was useful on it or not. Okay, I will. I think what happens.
Another option might be piazza.com. Piazza, like the Italian plaza.
Mm-hmm.
And it's geared specifically for school use, so it recognizes FERPA, but you can organize that too with folders with oh, nice dog. You can upload files, Word file, or I mean, you know, documents, but you can also organize chat and help with each other. It's kind of nice to use as well.
Okay.
I don't know if this particular class would be I don't know if this class would be interested in doing something like that or would feel more comfortable using Discord.
I am probably gonna keep on with Discord for now. I don't want to, unless there's something great. I want to have more use of these things before I change something. But since I have limited time, I'm going to change the subject and get back to specific questions for this assignment, if that's okay. I think somebody had a question about a Square or a Squarespace space site. Is that still true? Ah, Lily has a question about rich snippets. Fire away, Lily. At this point, yes. We have a whole nother assignment that's coming after this that's going to be all about rich content. So for now, if you can just ID it, say that I see what this is, and we'll talk more about it later.
Oh, I had a question. Could I ask now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Did you get the second email I sent you with the link to the website?
Let me take a look at that. I'm pretty sure I got it, but I didn't look at it. So, let's hope.
Yeah, there's a ton of room for improvement in the code for the SEO, but there's just not a lot of content total. So I guess that was my concern about it.
you will probably use this exact website for your next assignment, so it's great to start here.
Okay.
And what you can do is, as we go into the code, so we look at this and we find this wanting, right?
Yes.
Make your comments here and that's fine. Going through here, what we might say about this, or if I was using, I think it's the Moz guide that talks about having indexable content.
Okay.
There's not a lot of description where the text says what the site is or why it's there. So when you're writing about the indexable content, you might say, I should write a paragraph above where I start talking about how to make home fries, maybe saying why home fries are good. Right? Write some more stuff so that if someone is searching for a fried potato recipe, they could find it. But if you wrote a paragraph, that would give you opportunities to cram in more keywords. And that would be something you could mention there, and you could talk about the words that you decided to optimize for, and write a little paragraph, and that works. Through here, you've got images with good alt text, or at least good for SEO alt text. So the crawlers are going to look at this and see lots of food and recipe type words there and know what it is. So that's good. Headings could be added because recipes are fairly hierarchical. So you might have a heading 1 for your ingredients, a heading 1 for your preparation, and a heading 1 for your cooking instructions. And then heading 2 might be where your bulleted list for your ingredients goes. So you could add a structured or a hierarchical structure to this with H tags. So you can add it as you go and point to it, and then, but only have to show 3 options. So I think you're on a good track. This is a good place to be.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement, so that makes it good for the project, essentially.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anthony's got a question in chat.
How much code annotation are you looking for? I always hesitate to answer this because but I know that the feeling that makes people ask it. So, I think fairly quickly you're going to run out of things to annotate. When you read your beginner's guide to SEO, whichever of the 3 that you picked, if you go through that list, fairly quickly you're going to be out of things. Yeah, the reason for asking the alt text next to 3 instances, yeah, do 3 instances of something, and then if there's more things after that, you don't need to do the 4th one to prove to me that you know how to do it. So we'll just say as a rule of thumb that doing it 3 times shows that you can have attention to detail and see all of them and see how it goes. Doing the 4th time is just too much.
If it's there.
If it's there.
We might need to create like an example in a comment and like, this is how we would do this since it's not on the site, and that would show understanding if it's not there.
Correct. Does that clarify? Good.
Yeah, clarified.
And keep asking questions here or through email later. Questions are good. Let's see. Is there someone who's still here who hasn't asked a question yet that has something they would like clarified? Yeah, the question is how much is enough and how much is too much. What you want to do is, maybe this will help. If you're looking at your site and you're thinking, I have done the amount of optimization that this site needs. If I do more, I'm either wasting my time or making it worse. Tell me that in the essay. Say that these are the things that I've changed because these are the things that need to be done. The things that I haven't changed didn't need to be fixed. Maybe for one or two things, say, you know, why it didn't need to be fixed. The alt text is descriptive and it uses my keywords. If you say that, it shows that I know you looked at it. You didn't just go through and, you know, hastily type something in at the last second so you could turn it in. But if, for instance, the site that you had chosen had been a professionally SEO'd site, maybe you wouldn't have any recommendations for changes, but you would still point out the places where SEO took place and say, this is a good use of an H1 tag because this is a great title tag because it has descriptive terms, the name of the business, and the location all in the recommended number of characters. That shows me that you know that you can recognize what good SEO looks like without having to write it. Anyone else? James and Mason, you're still here, but is there a question I can answer from either of you? Don't want you to feel ignored or overlooked.
No, I was kind of lurking to see if any questions would help me out with clarifying any other issues. So
Lurking
far,
is
I
acceptable.
feel like everything's good. I just got to do it.
Well, yes, go forth and do.
Have a great day. See you
too.
Friday.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to get out of here too. Later, everybody.
All right, logging off. Cheers, folks. Wash your hands.
Bye. Thanks, Nicholas.